Hello and welcome to the Life at Leyton podcast with me, Sarah Glanville, as your host. We celebrate our exceptional people on the podcast, and today I'm sitting down with one of our annual award winners from our operations function at Leyton UK, Claudia Grant, Head of Consultant, Learning and Development. Claudia has a unique perspective on coaching, learning and development at Leyton, as she is one of the people responsible for delivering it. Claudia also has her own unique experiences to pull from, and this makes for a very interesting episode for anyone looking to excel in a people, operations or support role within a business. Thank you, Claudia, for joining me, and thank you all for tuning in. Grab yourself a coffee and get ready to be inspired by the people that are Leyton UK. Hello and welcome to the Life at Leyton podcast. I am here today with our Head of Consultant Learning and Development, Claudia Grant, to have a conversation around what it takes to be an exceptional performer in our operations function. So, Claudia, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. That was quite an introduction.
Well, you earned it. You were one of our operations exceptional performers winners at our latest summer event, at our collaboration day. So we're here today just to delve into what it takes to be an exceptional performer. Thank you for being here. To jump in and start off straight away, maybe you could introduce yourself a bit and share your journey here at Leyton UK.
Sure. So I've been at Leyton now for just over 2 years. In terms of how I got here, you want to know how I got to Leyton? Yeah. So I'd probably say my journey's been a little bit different, quite a dynamic one. I've spoken about this before on one of our previous chats, how redundancy kind of just pivoted me down this pathway, if you like, a role which I think now has given me a bit more purpose and intent with what I do. Took me back into full-time study, 3 degrees later, um, doing psychology and just really understanding where I think I fit in terms of working with people. Not wanting just another job, as I said, but just something with a bit more intent behind it. Um, and for me, I identified that as working with people through talent management, talent development. Um, so yeah, that's how I got here.
Amazing. And you obviously say that you identified you wanted to work with people and you felt developing talent was that area that you wanted to focus on.
hmm
Sounds like pursuing that journey really does keep you motivated at work.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I'm motivated by a number of different things, and sometimes it's the small things. But working with people and just sometimes seeing those small improvements, things that they do to their role or do in their role to learn new skills that really make a difference in what they do. It's the impact, it's the results, and as I said, having that purpose and intent that does lead to those outcomes. That's what keeps me motivated.
Yeah. I love that word impact. Like that's something that I think personally I'm also in an operations role strive to achieve. And it's sometimes I guess a little bit harder to quantify it when you're not in a delivery role, but it's
hmm
nice to hear that's aligned across your motivations as well within an operations capacity is having that impact on the wider business.
Yeah, you know what, Sarah, I think it's important that you say that because sometimes if we're not in a role where there's a tangible number that we can say we deliver X amount or whatever, I always try to say to people, but where do you add value in other ways? What do you bring to the table, if you like, that is having an impact on the business, maybe indirectly, but you're still contributing, you're still having an impact nonetheless.
Absolutely. So, for you personally, Claudia, what specific skills or qualities do you think have been most crucial to your success in talent development, and how have you continued to develop those skills whilst you've been at Leyton UK?
Oh, okay. I would say there's quite a few skills in terms of doing what I do, and some of them have evolved. Some of them, if I'm honest, I think is just me. Um, that has been honed over time. Definitely the focus side in terms of getting me here, having that laser focus in terms of what I wanted to do, and also that grit, I think, as well, alongside of that resilience, all of that. In terms of the people side of what I do, I think it's the building connections, it's the empathy, it's being able to be relatable to people. Um, Something I'm really careful at. Um, crafting, and again, very intentional with it, is really taking the time to listen and to create that space where people can share, especially on the coaching side. Building that trust where people can share without reprisal, put themselves out there, be vulnerable because they want to grow, they want to learn. Um, so I think those are some of the key skills that I have in terms of what I do every day.
Yeah, I like how you started that by saying, like, I guess leaning into more of who you are and developing,
Hmm.
connecting with that part of yourself. Because I think that's a confidence thing, isn't it? Just leaning into the skills that you have naturally.
Yeah, and it's recognizing that, and also, like you say, being confident to lean in. Because it's when you get into that flow, when you get into your flow, sometimes you don't even realize. But again, it's you're being intentional with it. But then I think that's when I can best help other people as well, when I'm in that space.
Absolutely. So you are, of course, involved with our coaching and development here at Leyton, but how has coaching and professional development supported you personally in your career?
Yeah, I think when I was going through my whole career change episode, if you like, coaching really helped me. I was fortunate that I was able to get access to coaching. I think not just personally, but just from the evidence that's out there about coaching, there's lots of studies on this. Coaching, I think, is such an impacting resource. It can really help you. It helped me in terms of just uncovering things about myself, my strengths, my blind spots, in terms of improving my confidence, all of those things, and also challenging certain beliefs I had, that were quite limiting to me. So that's where coaching I found was really helpful. If I relate that to what we do here at Leyton, I would probably say it has the same, it's there to create that exactly the same thing that it did for me. And we have different types of coaching here, which is good. So the coaching that I offer to the consulting functions, I work with people that are transitioning into new roles, or with some of the managers as well, and again, just helping them, supporting them in terms of their development, things that they need to work on, improve, challenging them in certain areas as well. But we also do coaching that can be very skill specific, working with certain people to develop certain things so that they can be better speaking with clients, for example, where we perhaps might coach on calls and things like that. And I know on the sales side of the business, there's different types of coaching, again, that is very skill specific. And we also have a wider program throughout the business, through My Sales Coach, where you can actually access the senior leadership, which is great, and be coached on, again, different topics of interest to you that you want to get coached on or more information on.
Yeah, it's something that runs, I guess, through the DNA here in Leyton, UK, is that
Yeah.
that coaching and that talent development, which is in large part to you and your team. What advice would you give to other people at Leyton looking to make the most of coaching and development resources that we have available?
I think with most things, I would probably say just be proactive, because the resources are actually there. The resources are there if you look for it. If we're not doing a good job at shouting about it, hopefully this will help with that. But be proactive. There is coaching out there. There's mentoring that is available as well. So ask questions, engage in the things that we have available. And a lot of them, for example, my sales coach, that was sent out to everybody. So if you missed the email, for example, here's another opportunity for you to go find it, and book yourself a session. But the information is there. I think it's about, as I said, be bold, putting yourself out there, um, giving yourself a little bit of permission to just step outside your comfort zone and get some feedback from other people, get input from other people that can maybe help to just unlock some different ways of thinking, different perspectives, for certain people.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've spoke, I guess, about your career change, and we spoke about it in depth on our first episode that we
Mm.
recorded together, Claudia. But for someone who's considering a role maybe in people or in an operations or support capacity within a business, what would you say are the key factors that they need to think about? And what advice would you give to them to help them succeed and make a meaningful impact in their field?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is why you're doing it. And the reason why I say that in terms of starting with your why is because If you're doing something and it then becomes challenging later on down the line, it's your why that's going to keep you going. So remember why you want to do that. Then I would say look at you in terms of doing almost like a SWOT analysis on yourself. Look at what it is that you're good at, your strengths, your weaknesses. Look at areas of opportunity for you and things that maybe could be a threat to you in terms of your skill sets. Try to identify where you might have gaps. Crucially, I would probably also say get feedback, because often we think, oh yeah, I want to do that, I'm great at that, but talk to people um, that can actually give you some feedback on your skills, your experience, that can maybe point you in the direction of where you can actually grow or get some more learning in that area, or even give you some mentorship in that area as well.
Yeah, I think self-awareness is such a good skill to hone, like
Hmm.
to being a self-aware person. And you obviously can do your own SWOT analysis, but like you say, marrying that up against feedback from other people, and you start to see, I guess, is there things that you're bang on the money about, and is there things that maybe you had missed or you need to work on?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely agree with that.
Fab. And is there anything that you wish you'd known when you started off in your career, either your first sort of career or then your second career, that would help others at the beginning of their journey?
What a question. I would probably say take the risk, take risks, be bold, put yourself out there. What is the worst thing that can happen? I think when I look back now, I think sometimes we're so worried about being polished, perfect, having it all together before we even take that first step. But guess what? I think we learn in the mess. We learn, that's when we grow. As long as you're prepared to challenge yourself, embrace the feedback, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I always say that as well. And just keep learning. That for starting out, that's what I would say. And also just be your authentic self. There's only one you out there.
Yeah, amazing. That's great. Thank you so much, Claudia. That was been a nice quick fire through those questions. But is there anything else that you'd like to add before we close off today?
No, I don't think so. Just that obviously the talent team, we're here to support learning. That's what we're about. Come talk to us.
Yeah, I'm sure people will. You guys are all very, very approachable. And before I finish off, I'd just like to say again, congratulations on your win from the summer party,
Thank
which
you.
feels like 100 years ago
It does
now, but
now.
I know time flies here, but really well done, and it's great to have your input on, I guess, the operation side of the business and how to excel there. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. We're going to be back in a few weeks or at the end of next month with the next episode of the Life at Leyton podcast. But until then, thank you for listening and speak to you soon.